Let's see here. I've been playing this mobile game that I think might be worth talking about. Um, it's called Infinite Lagrange, and
Mm.
it's definitely a game that's made in another country. The grasp of the English language is lacking at best in some spots, but this is like a grand scale PVE slash PvP outer space battle kind of game where you build a base, you harvest three different types of goods. There's metal, there's crystal, and then there's metal, there's blue crystal, and then there's purple crystal.
Hmm.
And these items are used to help you build up your base, make it stronger, build up your ships, make them stronger, get more ships, and everything is just ultimately leads to these large scale battles where you're sending 50 ships at a dude, and you've got your teammates who are in a like a guild. They call it a union in this game, but it's essentially a guild. They're sending their ships. They got 50 ships each, and then you're against another guy who's got his teammates, and they each got 50 ships, and it's like these large epic scale battles. And I gotta say, Will, for a mobile game, this has got to be one of the most gorgeous looking games I've ever played.
I'm gonna have to look at this.
It is just absolutely stunning. I apologize I did not have any video ready for this to discuss it, but it is an absolutely gorgeous game. It kind of reminds me of Sins of a Solar Empire or Homeworld in the way that it looks. And, you have just this incredible sense of vastness of space, right? I have ships that I've trying to send across from one part of the galaxy to the other, and it's literally taking 2 days to get there. It's that slow. But then there's other parts where, like, if it's in your immediate area, you're talking maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes tops, right? Um, the PvP aspect of the game, I have to admit, I'm not crazy about. I just don't really enjoy competing against other people, especially when you have a game that is so reliant on luck and or money. And this game doesn't rely on money too much, but you can buy your way into bigger and better ships if you have enough cash. The rest of it's just based on luck. And, like, for example, there's this one class of spaceship called a battle cruiser, which is one of the largest ones in the game. And I've been able to build it now for 2 weeks, but I don't have any blueprints to do so. So I don't have any battle cruisers in my fleet, and I'm not willing to spend the money to attempt to acquire them. So I'm just rolling the dice every time I pull a pack, because you get a pack daily for
Hmm.
essentially nothing, right? Every time I'm rolling those dice, I'm trying to get that pack. Most of the time, there's no blueprints, and if it is something, it's a lower tier ship. So that part of the game is becoming a little frustrating at this point. But overall, I think there's a solid foundation there. The game is new enough where it really can only get better from here, I think, if the developers continue to put the time and effort into it. And the cool thing about it is, in addition to being a mobile game, there's also a Windows version that you can install on your computer as well too. And while it's not a perfect transition from touchscreen to mouse and keyboard, it's pretty damn close. So if I'm home, I find myself loading it up, and I'll let it run in the background while I'm editing one of our episodes, for example, or, because there's a lot of downtime. It's not constantly go, go, go. Maybe I'm just waiting for something to build while my ships are mining and doing their thing. And I'll edit, I'll work on some stuff, and then I'll come back to it and see where we're at.
Dude, it looks good. It looks really good for a mobile game.
It's very impressive. Um, you know, I I love this kind of shit, man. I love these like epic outer space battles, and if I could do it in a way where it was strictly player versus enemy, um, like Sins of a Solar Empire, or maybe something like, if you could take this exact game and just made it so that there was no PvP aspect to it, I think I would just fall in love with this, right? But
Hmm.
unfortunately, there is that PvP aspect to it, and they're leaning heavily on it. For example, you can level your ships up from attacking like the CPU opponents but it caps out at level 30. And if you want those ships to increase in their levels, the only way to do it is either by using power-ups or attacking other human players. So they're really kind of encouraging you to go down that path of being like a warmonger and just pissing everybody off. Thankfully, when you do get destroyed, it's somewhat forgiving. They relocate your base into essentially a graveyard where there's no resources. But if you had some outposts where you were previously, you can just migrate back to one of those and you don't lose too much ground. But
Well, I tell you what we need, man, and this game is inspiring in a lot of ways, and I hope it's inspiring for game developers because you know what we don't have, at least to my knowledge, we don't have a good space game. Like we don't have a good space exploration game. There needs to be something like that, even if it's like an astronaut simulator or something where you could just travel around to different planets in our solar system with a cool ship. I'd be totally down for that, and I think a lot of other folks would, but we don't have that. And I'm
the
really actually quite surprised that we don't.
the closest thing would probably be No Man's Sky,
Mm,
which
mm.
I think it has more in common with Minecraft than it does with what you're looking for. It is very much an exploration-driven game. Don't get me wrong, but you have all these gradual steps because you're constantly gathering certain materials so that you can build certain parts, so that you can fly to another planet where there'll be different set of materials that you can use to gather certain parts to build certain things. You're constantly upgrading your ship or buying new ships to get further and farther out into the galaxy. But it focuses heavily on this mining aspect where you're the one doing the mining, whereas a game like this, I'm just pointing and clicking and sending my ships over to do the mining, and it's automated. I don't want to be mining carbon with a laser. To me, that's just not fun. And that's unfortunately a lot of what No Man's Sky was, is, going around with a laser and trying to be sneaky about it and shooting stuff when the Sentinels aren't looking. And then when they do look, you either shoot them or you run like hell and you hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Starfield is what I'm looking for. You know, Skyrim in space.
I think you got a shot of that, man. I don't know for sure. I mean, there's no details, but I think there's a chance, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Fingers crossed, because I just want something, man. I mean, I know you would like that. Like if you could create your own ship and give it its own name and just
yeah,
travel around in space and just do cool space shit.
yeah, yeah. I mean, shit, man. That's exactly what I want out of life. I just want to do cool space shit all the time.
Yeah, fly to like a new planet on a Thursday and maybe go warp speed, or maybe take your time and take 14 years to get there, you know?
Oh goodness, I think that might be our episode title there. Cool space
Cool
shit.
space shit.
All right,
Uh,
so let's take a look here. You got a list of games that you're thinking of buying. USS Gruber from Epic Outro. Yes, I love it.
love it. Love it. That's the name of that's the name of the room now.
The USS Gruber.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
So,
just pretend I'm in a spaceship.
well, I mean, you could go on YouTube and they have clips of the USS Enterprise, the engine sound, and it'll
Ah,
play
yes.
play for 30 minutes, an hour, 4 hours. There's one that goes 8 hours, 12 hours. There's been a couple times where I've had trouble sleeping. You're damn straight I've put that on and everything was just right. Knocks me out
We should
every
find a
time.
way to we should find a way to incorporate that noise into the feed. So every time people listen or watch the show, they're stuck listening to the sound of my spaceship in the background.
I could do that.
The
I,
USS Gruber.
I could put the USS Gruber on loop.